So I'm Gie Baguet. I'm the founder of Frans Broad Production. I will explain later what it is, because it looks like an agency, but it isn't an agency. We are based in Ghent, and we are working with artists. I use the title for this lecture. I think you know it, the philosophy of enthusiasm. And I want to talk about enthusiasm because it's something that all of you have in your body, but also what you need. And when the famous writer Roald Dahl talked about enthusiasm, he said, lukewarm is not enough. Hot is not either. Red hot and passionate, that's the only thing. And I heard once that the Greeks did not write death announcements. When someone passed away, the only thing they were asking was he or she passionate. Did he or she live with passion? I think Roald Dahl is right. If the Greeks, if that story is right or not, I don't know. But what I know is you cannot work in performing arts without passion, without enthusiasm. I'm sure that performing arts cannot exist, cannot survive without passion, without enthusiasm. And without enthusiasm, I never could do my job now for 39 years. I'm accompanying artists, and I'm organizing their worldwide tours everywhere in the world, Europe, Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Oceania. And I will tell now a little bit the story of Frans Broad Production. Maybe I explain a little bit the name Frans Broad. My name is Baguette. Baguette is a French bread, Frans Broad, so it's that simple. So whenever you are looking for a good name of your company, don't look too far away. It can be very close to you. So try to find a simple name, and that sounds good. First lesson. So I will tell the story of Frans Broad Production, so you get an idea of what enthusiasm can mean in the art, and on top, I try to give you a view of international touring. With Frans Broad Production, so we are accompanying artists in general, but our core business is distribution. So we try to find the most beautiful places in the world where artists can present their work. But, as I said in the beginning, we are not an agency. I am not an agent. And I try to explain. We choose our artists for a long-time relationship. So we are never interested in just one production. We try to find a long-term relationship with an artist. And how do we choose our artists? There are 4 criteria, or 4 main criteria. There are, of course, more. The first, of course, is that we need to love the work. You cannot work with and for an artist if you don't love the work. So that's the very first criterion. And the second criterion is almost as important as the first. We need also to love the artist, because I can only work with people that I like. They don't have to be my best friends, but there has to be a certain relationship to be able to work on a long-term relationship. The third criterion is that it has to fit somewhere in our network, and that means our network is mainly contemporary dance, a little bit of theater and circus. So if, for instance, a classical music ensemble is asking us, and I love their work, and these people are beautiful people, I love these people, but I'm not into classical music, so it's something that... And then the fourth criterion, and that's not the most important, but it's the criterion where most of the talks we have with artists, because we almost every week we have a demand of an artist to represent him or her. And the fourth criterion, it's then the criterion where sometimes it fails. That's we only accept the collaboration with an artist when we know 100% that we can fulfill it. That we have really, that we know 100%, not 50%, not 80%, but that we know 100% we can have the time to do it. And if not, we prefer not to do it. In the beginning when I started, sometimes I accepted things and I said, okay, I don't have the time, but we'll see, but it doesn't work like this. If you do something, you do it 100%, and if you don't know that you can do it for 100%, it's better not to do it. So we worked for almost 30 years with Alain Platel. I think this name sounds for most of you familiar, a famous choreographer from Ghent. We worked for almost 15 years with Sidi Larbi Cherkaoui. We work now for more than 20 years with Peeping Tom. We work almost 10 years with Alexander van Toornaat, with Serge Koulibaly. I'm just dropping some names. I will show some material later of some of these artists just to give you an idea. And we worked with these people almost always from the beginning of their career. And that's beautiful to build up something together. And to be honest, we are very proud to be a small part of their international success. I said a small part because, of course, the main part is the artist, and we are just a small part, but we are part of it, and that's nice. With each of these artists, we have a very close relationship. It's almost a daily contact that we have, and we are accompanying this artist in their professional life and the development, in building up and developing their own structure, their company, thinking together of future artistic plans, future strategies, productional planning for new creations, business planning, and much more. I think most of these things sounds very, very, very far away for all of you because, yeah, you are at the very beginning, but it's something that you have to know already now, that you are dancers, or you are supposed to become dancers. I hope to see some of you or most of you the next years in festivals and venues that I'm visiting. But then you have to know that you are not only dancing, there's more that you have to do around, and that's what I try a little bit to explain, that when you become a dancer, that it's necessary to have people around you to arrange some things that you don't like, or that you don't have the time to do, or that you are not able to do. So that's what we are trying to fulfill for this artist. And then, of course, we are organizing their tours. And for us, the quantity is not important, it's all about quality. So I said already, we are not looking to have as much dates as possible. No, we are looking for really the most beautiful places in the world where they can present their work. And we do that on the rhythm of the artist, not on our own rhythm. So if an artist is saying, please Guy, I want to tour for the next 3 years all over the world, we cannot promise that, but we can try to do that. If an artist is saying, I want to play once a week or 6 times a month or whatever, so it's for each artist, for each production, it's different. And I think for most of you in the next couple of years, you will become member of a company, and in the beginning you have to adapt on their rhythm. When you are a new young dancer, that's the only thing you can do. But little by little, you can, maybe in the future, you can realize to or you can understand that touring is beautiful. It's fantastic to tour, even if it's only in a region, or is it in one country, or in Europe, or whatever. Touring it's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's very enriching, but it's also very tiring. And traveling. It's very tiring. It's going from one place to another place, and the travel, and then you arrive, and most of the performers, the dancers or the performers, they only see an airport or a station, their hotel room, and the venue where they perform. So, but it's also important to enjoy that life, and to, when you arrive in a city, to take the time to have a look in that city, and not only to be in your hotel room and sitting there. So that's part of that passion also. It's to not only focus on this one thing. Of course, you have to focus on your performance, but see it also a little bit out of that also. That's the only way to survive, because otherwise you go crazy after a certain moment. So we are working for the artist. The artist is not working for us. That's very important. And that's the difference with a lot of agencies who are only working in a commercial way. They want to make money. That's the reason that I'm saying it looks like what we are doing is like an agency, but you make me very unhappy when you call me an agent. So and I'm happy that I try to explain that, and I'm happy that I can explain that you can organize worldwide tours without being an agency. I want to make my point. Walter, you forgive me?
I just wonder why nobody wants to be called an agent.
No, well, the reason, Walter, is because most of the agents I know, they work in a very commercial way, and they are not taking care of the artist. They are taking care of their money, and they want to make more money and more money out of the artist, and yeah, that's the reason, and maybe we have to make the name of an agent, the name of an agent more into the reality out of that commercial way, but until today it's not like that. So, but it's not that important, but for me it's a little bit important. I forgot to tell you in the beginning, whenever you have questions or you want to interrupt me, please do. Otherwise I just continue, unless you are interrupting me. I said already that I started 39 years ago, and that's the early 80s, long time ago. And you have to know a little bit of history. Sometimes it's also important that in the early 80s there was only the big houses, the big theater houses, the big opera houses. And only in the early 80s, the first independent artist started to create something. And that was not only in Belgium, it was everywhere in Europe. It was a very, very inspiring period. And that was the period where I also started. And that was a big advantage for me to start then, because when there is nothing, you only can do something, and whatever you do, it's okay, because nobody takes care of that. So I could start and I could develop and grow in a very natural way. When you start nowadays, it's much more complex, because everything is so professional, everything is so well arranged, and that's fantastic. When I see all this is so well organized, so you can, thanks the people here, that you can be part of this beautiful 5 days of workshop. In the early 80s, this was impossible. When you were a dancer, first, there were no schools for dancers. You only had the classical ballet, and that was it. Nowadays, yeah, you know it better than me. There are schools everywhere. Um, and But how did I start? I had among my friends, I had some artists, and sometimes I helped them a little bit. And I came out from school. I didn't. I'm a, in fact, officially, I'm a social worker, but I never did that. That's my school. But I didn't know what to do in life, and I helped some artists, and little by little I realized, oh yeah, that's something that I like, and I started an association without making profit, and yeah, some other artists, they asked me, yeah, can you help us, and little by little it developed, but only after I think 6-7 years I could pay myself my first small salary. So we were just surviving, but it was a period, it looks like the Middle Ages, but it was a period that you could survive with nothing, or with very, very, very little money. But it was, I learned a lot, and little by little it developed. And in the first years I was mainly working with street theater artists, and that was we had lots of fun, really. It was a great period. And then one day, I do remember very well, Alain Platel was ringing on my bell. I don't know if you know Alain Platel, most of you, yeah. Now he's one of the most famous artists, choreographers worldwide. At that moment, he was completely unknown. He did performances in his living room, and sometimes I went to see it, and it was fantastic. So Alain Platel came to my office and he said, Guy, can you help me? And I said, Alain, of course I want to help you, but there is one problem. I don't know anything about dance. And the only thing he answered, Guy, no problem, me either. Because he is an, how do you call it, orthopedagogue, is that English? He was working with handicapped children. It's something completely out of dance. So we started together, and little by little it developed. He started, he had already then his company, Les Ballets C'est de l'Abbé, but it was a very, very small company, and little by little it developed. So, and that's a beautiful way of starting a relationship with an artist. After, I think, 10 years, there came in, Alain organized a competition for the best dance solo. And one of the participants was Sidi Larbi Cherkaoui, 18 years old. I think most of you know the name Sidi Larbi. 18 years old, yeah, very young, and he was dancing with at that moment on TV with popular singers. So just to make some money. Yeah. And of course he was, well, not of course, but he is one of the most beautiful dancers I ever met. He won that competition. And the first prize was that he could be part of the next production of Alain Platel. So Sidi Larbi came in the company, Les Ballets C'est de l'Abbé. And after 2 years, it was clear that he was not only dancing, he wanted to create. So he created his first piece, his second piece. And his second piece already was Foi. I don't know if you remember, Walter, or... Yeah, no, it was a large-scale piece, and it was fantastic. But to have two big choreographers or main choreographers in the same company, that was a little bit difficult. So Sidi Larbi left Les Ballets C'est de l'Abbé, and he went to Toneelhuis Antwerp, big organization in Antwerp, and he said, okay, on one condition I want to do it, when Guy and Frans Brood can keep on accompanying me. So we did, and then he started his own company. So little by little also, from the 18 years old Sidi Larbi, he became the famous Sidi Larbi he is now. And once again, he did it, not I did it, but I was little part of that process. Another example, I think 8-9 years ago, I got a phone call from Alexander van Turnhout, who will be part of the festival, will be next week. If you can see it, please go to see it. So 8-9 years ago, I got a phone call from, but it's no problem, no. And he said, Mr. Baguet, I said, I'm Alexander van Turnhout, and I want to invite you in my studio. I'm working on a dance piece. And I said, okay, Alexander, of course, I'm coming. So I went to a small village out of Ghent to his studio. His studio was the garage of his father, and there was one chair, and he showed me 50 minutes of his work. The preparation of the very first solo, Alexander, that he was making. And it looks wonderful. And I said, "Looks, Alexander, it's great. I want to help you, to support you." And little by little, we started a collaboration, and he is now quite a famous choreographer, playing all over, at least all over Europe, but also in other parts of the world. Another example is Serge Koulibaly. He is a dancer choreographer from Burkina Faso in Africa, and he's living in Brussels. And 15-20 years ago, he was a dancer with Alain Platel and with Sidi Larbi Cherkaoui. So I know him from a long time. And then 10 years ago or something, also he came to my office and he said, Guy, you know me, and can we start something? So we started a collaboration, or I started to help him. But it's always, it's not easy to start a new collaboration. It's not that you are part of Frans Brood or whatever, which organization, and the next days all the presenters are calling, can we? No, it takes at least 2-3 years to build up something. So that's also something I want to say. You have to take your time. You are very young, you have time, but you have to take it. Don't think that the world is waiting for you. It sounds very hard, but nobody is waiting for you. But at the same time, I only can hope that in a couple of years, lots of people will love to see your work. So Serge came in, and in the beginning it was an African company, but for Serge he didn't want to be announced as an African company because he was just a dancer, a choreographer, not an African choreographer. He was proud to be African, to be black. But he wanted to be respected for his artistic presence, his artistic view, and not because he was African. So it took some time, but I think 5-6 years ago, he made a beautiful piece, Kalakuta Republic, and we could present that on the Festival of Avignon, and from then on. So it's some festivals can be catalysator. Is it that the right word? It can be a starting point for a certain career. But that's always different. I talk later about that. But what's very important for me is that the base for a good collaboration is trust. You have to trust each other. In this 39 years, I never ever made a contract with an artist, because and that's also a little bit the difference with agencies. They make contracts with their artists, and I do not believe in that. First, I think it's very difficult to make an all-inclusive contract for a long-term collaboration. You always forget things, So I try to do my job in a good way, and in these 39 years, nobody left for when they were leaving. It was because Sidi Larbi became director the opera, the ballet company of Flanders. So then it was, so it's Alain Platel now 2 years ago announced, came to me and he said, Guy, I'm tired. I want to stop touring. It's too much. I'm 65. I want to, of course, when you are 65, you don't stop as an artist. But so he's continue working as an artist, but he only works now in Ghent with local people and doing local projects. So then it's a kind of ending of a relationship. So every 2 months we have lunch or dinner together. So we still are, but that's the reason. But so there can be reasons to stop a collaboration. But every artist I'm working with can leave every day if they want. So that it's a way of it's a way of trust. So that's for me very important. I said already the word we, because I'm not the only one in the office. We are 4 people in the office. So I have 3 colleagues. And we are dividing the work. So they are traveling, I'm traveling. We divided the different artists, the final coordination between all of us. So it's also in the office a beautiful collaboration and on an equal level. But maybe it's time to show some video material to in between, and I hope I get this start again. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Let's start with Peeping Tom. Who knows Peeping Tom? Yeah, yeah, okay. You love it?
Yes.
You know, I forgot to tell this story. When Peeping Tom, Frank and Gabriella, they are 2 choreographers. The artistic direction is the 2 choreographers, Frank and Gabi. And they were dancers with Alain Platel. And like most of the dancers in the company of Alain Platel, after a while, they wanted to create their own work. So one day they came to my office and they said, Guy, we bought a caravan and we did a performance in the caravan. Can you come to see it? And it was a beautiful performance. And they said, yeah, we have already a name for our company, Peeping Tom. and can you help us? And so we started, and that's now 21 years ago. And now they are doing beautiful, beautiful work. Their last production they made, it's Triptych. And Triptych, it's a combination of 3 different choreographies, the 3 parts, and it's 3 big sets because they are making. In the beginning, they made very small work, but yeah, they developed and they made it because the set. They always start from a set, so they create a certain set, imaginary set, and there they create the work. So. In this part, in this production Triptych, it's on a boat, the different parts of a boat. And I'll show you the trailer just to have an idea. what you saw here, it's not a normal dance performance. It's when they are Peeping Tom, when they are playing in dance festival, they are announced as a dance company, but they are always playing in theater festivals, and then they are announced as a theater company. It's important to know that it can be a mixture of everything. And years ago, dance was really dance. Nowadays, visual art, dance, music, theater, everything is mixed up, and it's not important if it's what it is. It's not that important. It's just as a creator, as a choreographer, or as an artist, you have to make your own unique work, whatever it is. And if you are a choreographer or a director or whatever, but in the work of Peeping Tom, dance is presented in a completely different way than what we are used, and that makes it very unique. And maybe one more detail, but it's something. Well, it's very hard to say, but when they started the preparation for this piece, normally Peeping Tom is working with their own dancers for many years. And this piece was made originally for Nederlands Danstheater, but Nederlands Danstheater didn't want to. The members of Peeping Tom, Frank and Gabby, made it with the dancers of Nederlands Danstheater, but Nederlands Danstheater was not using it, and Peeping Tom asked, okay, can we have our pieces back? Can we do it under the name of Peeping Tom? So they went on with their own dancers, with the other productions, Mother, Father, Child, maybe you know something of that. And they announced this, so they asked for applications for 8 dancers for this piece, and they received 2,500 applications from all over the world. And from this 2,500, they selected 500. So they invited 500 people to come to, they did in Brussels and Barcelona, they did the selections. And out of this 500, they selected 30 people, and they worked for 1 week with these 30 people, and out of these 30 people came out the final 8 dancers. It's a hard story. It's not a beautiful story. I mean, it's beautiful for these 8 dancers. They are having the time of their life. It's now for 2-3 years that we started in 2020. For 2 years that they are touring already, and for the next 2-3 years they will go on touring. So that's the beautiful part. The less beautiful part, and that's also very hard to hear for all of you. It's for this thousands of other dancers. It's hard to. It's not an easy job. So be prepared also for that. It's when you are chosen, it's fantastic, and please enjoy that. But it will not come just like this. So it will take time. So I don't want to make you very depressive, all of you. But it's the reality, and you have to deal with the reality also. This was Peeping Tom.
That's a question about this, because you're describing this for Peeping Tom, but is it always the selection process like this? Do you always have to audition, or are there other ways to find a way as a dancer to...
In most cases, I know it's auditions. Or a choreographer chooses his dancers that he know already, but then you have no choice. I mean, it's how can a choreographer know all of you? I mean, it's the good part of auditions is that everybody can take part of it. That's the good thing. But it's a very, 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 very hard world. It's and it's what can I say? It's for Peeping Tom. They prefer to work with the 30 dancers that they selected, but that was financially it's impossible. So you have to make selections.
I also have a question.
Yeah.
What is about in the Peeping Tom audition? Because actually, like when I've seen them, it is not about dancing at all. You know, like of course yes, but I don't know how I would imagine an audition with Peeping Tom. You know, it's like I wouldn't expect to do like just like dancing things. So do you know more about it?
Well, it's when you do an audition, is of course it's very important that you go to see. It's double. At one hand, it's important that you know the artist, the company where you go to do audition, that you know their way of working, the atmosphere, whatever. It's important, but at the other hand, it's as important to stay yourself, to show what you are. You will not be selected by copying something that they did before. Never. But it's important to have that in mind. The most important is that all of you are unique. You have your own style, your own movement, or whatever. Everybody is unique. So try to develop that and to show that, and or it clicks or it doesn't. But it's of course it's very important to be very, very, very well prepared, and that's why we saw that with these 500 people who came. Some of them were not very good prepared, and then it's very easy. But for a lot were very, very good prepared, and then it's a difficult one to choose. But be yourself. That's the most important advice I can give. I want to show something of Alexander van Toornaut. It's something completely else. Alexander did the parts school in Brussels with Anna Teresa de Keersmaker, and after that he did also circus school. So he is a circus maker and he is a dancer choreographer. And in all his work you see the mixture of these two things. So I'll show you a small part of Through the Grapevine, a duet he made. So you see something really completely different than Peeping Tom, and that's a beautiful part of dance, that you have such a wide you have so many possibilities, and when you try to copy something, you are wrong. Well, you are wrong. I don't think that's the good way of working. Try to make your own work in a unique way. And I saw you a last video of Serge-Aimé Coulibaly, and that's the piece Wakat. Serge-Aimé is now, for the moment, just for your working here at Kammerspiele. He is doing. He's working with the Kammerspiele. Maybe some of you know, quite important place here in Munich, and he is working as a choreographer with the performance of Kammerspiel, and that's something that will premiere in October. It's Wakat is a piece that he made after the attacks in Paris and Brussels. So it's a quite dark piece he made, because Serge May normally it's a choreographer with a very open mind, very he gives in all his performances gives lots of hope, but in this piece yeah, it's about fear in the world, fear that everybody has fear of each other, and that's and you will see it also in this small trailer. So maybe, I don't know, it's time for a little break, or how do you feel? No, we go on? It's up to you. We go on? Yeah, okay. No problem.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Which is at the end of a lot of these reels, there's a list of co-producers.
Yeah, well, that's something that I will explain in the second part of. Very good question. I told you already that we have a very close relationship with our artists, but we also try to have a very close relationship with the presenters, the directors of festivals, directors of venues. Also, some of them became friends during the years, because some of them I know for for a long time. The two gentlemen here, we know for, I don't know, 20 years. 20, yeah, it's yeah. But it's very, because what we are doing, we are in between the artist and the presenters, and it's very important to have that good relationship with the artist, but it's also very important to have a good relationship with presenters. And how do we do that? That's by, if possible, by visiting them. We see a lot of presenters at festivals or at professional meetings, and then it's good to have talks with them. And of course, we talk about our artists, but it's also good to have talks about daily life, about your family, about your whatever. And also to listen to them, because sometimes it's more important to listen than to talk all the time about your work. So that's always something that it's good that sometimes you only have, but I will tell later, the importance also for all of you in the future to try to connect with festival directors or venue directors, and sometimes you only have 2 minutes, and then you want to use this 2 minutes as much as possible. But it's always important and good to do that in a relaxed way. It's not when you do that in a very stressful way. I want to show you something here, my work. Then it doesn't work that well. But to come back to the beginning of my lecture, when I was talking about the passion, of course, it's very important to talk with passion about your work. For us, it's very important to talk with passion about the artist we are representing. And so, when I'm talking with people, I'm just talking from here. I never talk from here. When you talk with love, people will listen and will understand what you are saying. If you fake something, then it doesn't work, or it works for once, but then it's over. I can say that after 39 years, I still can look everybody right into the eyes. And the presenters and all the artists we were working for, and that's very important. And I said that we are in between the artist and the presenters, but it's clear if we have to choose, we always will defend our artist, because we are there for the artist, and we defend them, and we will always protect them, always. 24 hours on 24, 7 days a week, all year long. So it's a hard job. When Walter, when I came here and Walter asked me, are you on the way to, or on your holidays or whatever? I said, no, I came especially here, but this is like holiday for me. So when people are asking me something about holiday, I only can say my life is one big holiday. Well, it's stupid to say it like that, but I mean, if you love what you are doing, you do it with you love to do that. So coming here, you can see it as a big effort, but it's not an effort. I love to do this. I love to meet all of you and to try to give you some inspiration, to give you some advice, to give you some, I don't know what. But yeah, besides looking for these most beautiful places, we are also looking for some extra budgets, money. And there we arrive at money. It's a part of the business. It will be also part of your life. I mean, even if you are an artist, you need money to realize your dreams. Every artist needs money, and it can be a small budget or a bigger budget. So when an artist is starting a new creation, we always starting to look together to make a budget. And then we look together what's the missing part of the budget, because some of the artists have a structural support by a government, some artists are not so. And then for the missing parts, we try to look for solutions. And one of the solutions is looking for partners, looking for co-producers. And that in the international work, it's a very important part, because like you mentioned, when you see the list of co-producers, sometimes it's a long list, and without these co-producers, none of these artists can make their work. They only can do that with the help of the government. That's the first part, but the support of the government most of the time is not enough. So you need extra partners. And that's also our responsibility. So we are looking all over the world to look for people, to look for festivals, presenters, venues who want to invest in an artist. And that's not easy, but it works. And it's for sure it's not easy now in this crisis. It becomes more and more difficult. But still, people are open to invest in artists, not just to present the work, but to invest in artists. So these partners are very important for each artist. And why are you doing that? I said already, of course, because, sorry, yeah.
You talk about partners, but how, like what kind of partners? You mentioned festivals sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's festival or a theater, a venue, a theater house that, or a dance house that say, okay, we pay. What is the missing part? Right? It's not going also like this. It's also a long-term way of negotiation and whatever. And investing can be in different ways. It can be just giving money, that they say, okay, I give you whatever, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, sometimes even more, it depends. And that's, you can have it. And most of the time there is no return. It's not that, well, the way we are working is without return. Sometimes you can do it also with return, that after each performance you give a part of that money back, but we are not working on that. So it's really an investment. They give some money, and with that money it's part of the creation budget. And then of course they are mentioned on all the promotion material as the proud co-producer of that production. But also we keep them informed about the process. They can come to attend to rehearsals, or we do a residency in their place. Also, this is so. There are different ways of collaboration, but in the international world, performing art world, co-producers, partners are very, 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 very important. Sorry, yeah.
I wanted to ask, what do you think is, what are artists important for, in your opinion? Why are you helping artists to spread their ideas, their work? What are artists important for?
I can give a very simple answer, and it's very naive, but for me it's the only way I can answer it, because art is the only way to make the world better. Art is in, and every form of art, if it's visual art or dance or theater or whatever, it's art. Without art, we cannot survive as human beings. Artists are so important because they open your eyes. They give you another view on how life is. Of course, we need a lot of things in the world. We need education. We need social help. We need engineers. We need everything. But art is for me even on top of all that, because it's so inspiring. Yeah, what can I say? It's already a little bit of an answer for you, or it's too vague.
What's your opinion about this?
Yeah. But it's not only my opinion. I think for millions of people, art is. But you cannot explain it in words. You cannot explain it in money. You cannot. It's so difficult to define it. To when you go to a museum or you see. Beautiful architecture, or you go to a theater, or what. So it can be, or you just walk on the street and you see a street theater artist doing something very poetic, very beautiful. It opens your world. It makes life different, and that's what we sometimes forget, and what's so important. So when we have this this budget, more or less, yeah, it's not always we find the complete budget, so then we have to adapt and everything. Then we are looking together for to make the creation possible. We are looking for residencies or for rehearsal places or whatever. So that's a lot of preparation to do. And then, of course, we start looking for the right place to premiere a production, and that can be in a very different way. It's and that also depends of each artist. Some artists prefer to premiere in a big festival, like we did 2 weeks ago with Meet Warlop. I don't know if this name sounds familiar for some of you. Meet Warlop presented a new work in the Festival of Avignon. I don't know if you've ever been to the Festival of Avignon, but once in your life you have to be there. It's the same with Edinburgh. These are big festivals, but it's so beautiful to be in a city like Avignon, where 100,000 people every day are coming, not to visit the city, but to look to art. You have in the festival, you have 2 parts in the festival. You have the official festival, and then you have the fringe. So the 2 different parts. But it's not that one is important than the other. No, it's 2 equal parts, and thousands of companies are presenting there during 3 weeks their work, and 100,000 people are coming every day to see the work. So it's so wonderful to see a city changing from in 11 months in the year a normal old beautiful city where tourists are coming and eating and drinking, and then 3 weeks in the year it's a city of art. It's only art. So it's once in your life you have to visit that, to be part of that. It's very inspiring. Of course, it's also overwhelming because so Meet Warlop premiered in the Festival of Avignon, which is a big risk to premiere in such a big festival, because all the professionals are there. They come to see your work, and or they like it or they don't like it. And when they like it, it's fantastic. And we were very lucky with Meet Warlop. Everybody loved it. It was the hit of the festival. But if they don't like it, it's very difficult to say 2 months later or 6 months later, I reworked it a little bit, come back, and it's much better. No, they don't come back. So lots of artists prefer not to premiere immediately in a big festival, but to do before some tryouts in very small venues or very small festivals. Tryouts, and we announce it then also as tryout. That means that the audience, they know it's not yet finished. You go to see a tryout, and afterwards there is always a talk with the audiences, so that they can learn from the reactions of the audience. And then after the tryouts, they do the first performances in small venues or small festivals, and when they feel okay, we are ready, then they go to a bigger festival. So there are different ways of organizing premieres, and yeah, we adapt with that also on what the artists prefer or what a certain production needs. During the creation process, we keep the partners or the interested presenters, we keep them informed about that creation process by newsletters or mailings, and of course when the production is ready, we invite everybody to come and see, because a presenter needs to see the work before he can decide, okay, I want to invite it or not. 20 years ago or 25 years ago, I do remember that people were saying sometimes, okay, Guy, when you are saying it's good, I believe you, we take it. But that's over now. And some presenters still, they say, okay, send me a video, and they look to the video, but to decide on a video, it's always very risky. It's because in a video you cannot feel what you feel in a theater. So we invite presenters, we invite the press to come and see and also this is part of our job. We provide also the promotion material, but never to the audience. We don't have a direct contact with the local audiences. We provide the material to the local presenter, and they deal with the audiences. Nowadays, the ecological part becomes the more and more important in touring. And of course, the ideal ecological part is that everybody stays at home, but that's also not a solution. So what we try, it's to combine in a region certain performances, to combine in a certain country, or when they are going to a certain country to find some in between on the way, on the road to some, so that there is a logical way of touring and also in an ecological way. And that can go from what I said in a region, but it can go like, for instance, maybe it's a stupid example, but it's Peeping Tom is invited now for the 4th time to do a tour in Japan. And of course it's fantastic to tour in Japan. But then on the way, so the set has to go by boat in a container. It takes 4-5 weeks to go there, and then the set has to come back. And then on the way back, we also try to find some places that on the way back we can have some stops to like Ile de la Réunion. It's a stupid example. It's in the south of Africa. So we always try to combine to make it ecological possible. Another thing is that before we had often that artists were just going to do a performance and they came back. Now we try to combine with workshops, with after talks, so that there is a local way of working. That it's not only that you come to see the work of an artist and the day after he has gone. No, that there is more of that. Also, some of our artists, they work with local people, with local figurants. Like Peeping Tom is always doing, Serge Koulibaly is also doing. So also that's beautiful. Then you arrive a couple of days before to work with the local people, and they get involved in the performance. I told you about trust, but what's also very important is to be honest. And we always try to be very honest to our artists. We go very regularly to see rehearsals and everything, and I'm not pretend to be an artist. I never will pretend. But when one of our artists, even other artists, are asking for my opinion, I try to be always very honest. For sure, the positive things, but also the less positive things. You don't help an artist by just saying it was fantastic. And I've seen it in this 39 years so many times that presenters are coming to me and they say, Guy, this was really, I don't like it, it's not good. And then 5 minutes later they are talking with the artist and they are saying, oh, I liked it very much. And then I'm thinking, why are you doing that? You are not helping the artist. You don't help them also by just saying it was very bad, because that an artist it's nothing with that kind of opinion. So you start always with the positive things, but it's very important to be honest and to do that in a very honest way. And the same to the presenters. When a piece is not ready or it's not yet that, we always try to communicate also this in a very honest way to the presenters. We are not going to say, wow, it's fantastic, you have to present that. No, it's when you want to have a collaboration in a long term, it's to be honest, it's a very important part. So we are trying to make every year after year, we're trying to make a puzzle for the artist, how he can tour, or how she can tour, and it's not always easy. And it becomes more and more complicated. But we try to do that for each artist, once again on his own rhythm, but also a tailor-made tour for each artist, for each production. So I said already, we are looking for the right dates to make such a tour possible. We do a technical check. We are not doing it ourselves, but in a relationship with the technical director of the artist, technical checks are done. We find the right financial agreements, and that's not only about the fee, but also about the per diem, about the hotel, about the travel, about the transport, about the royalties. So these are, I don't know if you all familiar with these things, or you want me to explain a little bit, or? Yeah. So when we make a contract, the fee is of course the base, so of everything. But on top of the fee, we have the per diem. So for all the members of the traveling members of the company. So each day, travel day and performance day, they are paid a per diem. And sometimes these are official rates of the country, like in Germany, also in France. Lucky in France, it's a little bit higher than in Germany. It's, so then you have to respect the official rates of the country. On top of the per diem, there is the hotel, and that depends. I only can ask you, not only you, but I mean in the beginning of a career, it's not done to ask for single rooms in a 4-star hotel. It's really not done, and I'm sure none of you are thinking of that. But when people are really touring a lot and for 11 months a year they are traveling a lot, and when there are well-respected companies, privacy for a dancer can be, or for a performer can be very important. So, for instance, for Peeping Tom, they are traveling so there we ask for single rooms so that everybody has his private room, and it's not 4-star hotel, but a good 3-star hotel, something. So it's also, this is depending for some. If it can be twin rooms, it's twin rooms, but for some standards we are asking for single rooms. So the hotel is important. Then the travel has to be arranged. The travel, that means the people traveling by train. If it's in Europe, we try to travel by train as much as possible. If it's overseas, then of course if it's too far, it's a plane, and that also is paid by the presenter, so it's part of the contract. The transport of the set, and it can be a very small truck or it can be a big truck. It depends of. And then the royalties. It's when you create something as an artist, you have the right to be paid royalties each time the production is presented. And you can do that in 2 different ways. you can become member of an official royalties organization, and then they arrange everything for you. Of course, you have to pay, or they keep a part of the, or what we do with some of our artists is that we organize it ourselves. So we put on top of the fee a certain percentage, it can be 10%, 12% of the fee, and that goes to the people who created the piece. That can be the choreographer, the composer, sometimes the dancers, when the dancers all together created it. So royalties, it's an important part of a contract. Yeah.
When I saw the piece from Pimenton, I saw that also to make the scenography, all the things, there were a lot of people behind. Also during the break, you could see the stage is open and you can see the people working behind and moving the stuff. I wanted to ask if these people are really from the company and they travel with the dancer, or usually they, I don't know, take some person in the place where they go.
Well, it depends. Like the example you give from Peeping Tom, these people are part of the company because it's really very particular work they have to do. It's but sometimes it's stagehands from the theater who just are there to behind the set to. But in that example, they are part. So this piece of Peeping Tom is traveling with 5 technicians. So 2 or 3 are behind the set, and the others are doing the light and sound. But it depends. Sometimes 1 technician can be enough. So yeah, between 1 and 5. But it can be more in Germany. I remember. No. So we are making the contract, and also there we have a difference between, and it's something I maybe you think, well, contracts. I'm not interested in contracts, but it can be important for the future. It's commercial agencies make 2 contracts. They make 1 contract with the presenter. Let's say, an easy example, 5,000 euro. And then they make another contract with the artist. But the artist doesn't know what is the contract with the presenter. So the contract with the presenter, the contract with the artist will never be 5,000, will be less, of course. But that can be even half. So an agent can take between 10, 15, and sometimes 50, 60% of the, and that's from the very beginning. I decided only to make 1 transparent contract. I make a contract as the representative of the artist, and we are making the contract with the presenter. So there are 3 parts, the 3 copies of the contract. 1 is for the presenter, 1 is for us, and the other copy is for the artist. So it's always very transparent, which is very important, and that's why after all those years that I can look everyone right into the eyes, because everything is very transparent, is very clear from before, and that's something that you have to keep in mind, that in the future when you work with people, that you have to try to work in a very transparent way, because otherwise, when people are trying to do something behind you, it's risky. It's not a good way. Normally, after each performance, we get a report from the tour manager, and then we can go back to the presenter first to thank them for their very warm welcome, but also sometimes, most of the time, it's only positive things. Sometimes there were some problems, and then we can talk about that. Also, sometimes some other colleagues, presenters came to see the performance. Then it's important for us to know who came to see the performance, so we can contact them. So it's an ongoing way of working. So all the time we are inviting people and we go on. So it's not that we prepare a tour and it's fixed. No, it's going on year after year, building up after each performance. It's going on, and I can say that. A network, of course, it's very important, having a network. And in the beginning, yeah, you just know some people. And yeah, after 39 years, I can say that I have an excellent network all over the world. I said already with most of the presenters, I have a very close relationship, friendly relationship. And yeah, it's important to keep that I can go on for hours to talk about it, but I want to mention some very important things for you. It's I said already some things, but I want to memorize it. I think it's one of the most important things is that you believe in yourself as an artist. You have to go your own way and never look to the market. Do things that you want to make, or I mean, it's very important. Be unique. Be surrounded by good people, people you can trust. Very important to be generous. It's better to be generous and to not to keep everything for yourself, and stay always very modest. Of course, when you are at the start of your career, it's not that difficult to stay modest, but when you start to having some success, it's not always easy to, when everybody is saying you are fantastic, it's most beautiful, and then sometimes you start thinking, oh, maybe I'm the most wonderful artist in the world. It's, well, it can be, but it's what I said also before already is in the beginning of your career, be flexible. Be flexible in accepting things and learn. Look with your eyes, listen. It's very, very, very important. And invest in things. I said it already. Go and talk with presenters. Maybe you think a festival director or a venue director, he or she will never talk with me. You are afraid, or you are a little bit. Don't be afraid. These are just normal people, just like you and me. I mean, it's and if you can talk with them, try to convince them in a beautiful way to give you the opportunity to at least to listen to you and to do something with your work. And in the beginning, financial issues can not be a problem. I mean, you can say, okay, I need that money, but it's sometimes it's necessary to invest and to, yeah, when I gave the example, when I started the first 7 years, I didn't earn any money, and that was my investment. And I don't want to say that now for 7 years you don't have to earn any money, but you need some money. But it's don't think, you have to think in an artistic way and not in making money, because let's be clear, I'm sure none of you are choosing this job to become rich. I mean, you never will become rich. But you will have, you will discover things in the world that nobody else ever will discover. It's what's also very important is make good promotional material and good investing in good photos, in good video. in trails and captures, in use your social media in a creative way. It's very important to invest in that. And when you have when you want to contact people, don't send material to 1,000 people. You can go to the internet and you find 1,000 festivals and you can send that to 1,000 people. None of them will read it. None of them will read it. It's because they don't have the time. They receive hundreds of that kind of mails every day. So it's better to start with 20 people and then to invest and then to contact them again and little by little to start something. I said already, Van, be honest and also be very short, because most of the presenters don't have much time. So don't start to explain the whole thing. Try to be as short as possible. Never ever give up. Never give up. Just go on. You have to believe in yourself, and that's very, very, very important. And the last and most important thing, have fun. Have lots of fun. Thank you.